Hey everybody, this is Brad Dyke reaching out to you. So, I've been getting some interesting questions about, when you've got a unit inside your garage, lab, or whatever, during the winter, if you're using what we call a heat pump solution, such as the solution you're going to see right here, you'll notice that you have to have it connecting to the back of your um, actual back of the house and venting air out and have an intake to come in. And what this basically is referring to is that this is a heat pump unit. It uses the heat pump process to pull out heat or add heat as necessary. But during the winter time, though, when you have this configured and set up, the question comes up, well, how do you deal with this? Because once you go below 45 degrees, isn't this a problem? Well, let's take a look at it from the side. Okay, so from the back side, you have on the back of the AC unit here, in this case the heat pump, it has two exchanges. One is a heat exchange, an exhaust, and the other one is the intake exchange, where it pulls in circulate air in the process of heating and cooling your unit. Now, during the winter, you have to disconnect the pipe that is the intake because the air is too cold to do the exchange. And because it's too cold, the heat pump can't do its job, and therefore you have a problem. So what I do is I pop off this part of the end off, I cap it off with a bag like that one and some tape, and I leave the intake exchange open to the room's air. So by doing that, it allows the heat pump to use the ambient air that we have in the air that's coming back from the back of the server chassis you see here, and it can use that to properly heat and cool as necessary. So with that being said, something else I recommend that you consider doing is as you're working with the unit, you want to do, of course, the airflow check. So you get close to it, you hear it, and you make sure the airflow is good. And you also put what's called the menu control system on the front, because it's very easy to forget how to operate the unit because you use it and you interact with it so few. It's just so rare that you interact with it once it does its job. But as you can see here, right now, it's pushing 60 degrees, but outside it's 19 degrees. So what I've done is another trick with the unit. See, what I did is, as you can see, I did not detach that intake pipe at all. I didn't do that at all. I left it connected to the outside. Yeah, it's cold air. But now that unit is only acting as a fan. So the fan is circulating in mode here, and it's just taking the air from the bottom and from the top, mixing it up, and keeping it at ambient temperature based on something else inside my garage lab. And that is the servers. Now, I only have 3 running right now, but 3 of these servers doing the work that I have them doing, and the storage array, generate heat. So I let them do their job. They create heat, but I use the fan system over here to circulate that heat and just keep mixing it in with the cool air from the concrete. Remember, if you've seen my videos, concrete is a very important detail when it comes to creating what we call the optimal convection heat and cold exchange that happens inside data centers. I just took it one step farther by allowing my hardware to now be a part of my HVAC solution. I can actually save money by not running the heat pump at all. Instead, I just run a single fan, and I'm able to keep this room fairly comfortable from the 10 gigabit pipe network all the way down to the chassis and the disk arrays. Now, it is something you just can't leave alone, because when you're looking at these platforms and they're running, you have to make sure that you periodically check on them, because any variation in temperature outside could trigger the room to get too warm. But usually I find it doesn't go above 72 degrees normally before I catch it. So it's just not something you can walk away from unless you just genuinely have very cold weather outside. Now, I only recommend this during the time of the winter. I normally flip on my air conditioning mode in springtime, and I'm very careful how much hardware I have, because as you can see here, I could very quickly turn this room into a sauna with all this hardware if I chose to turn it all on, because I've got the Pi clusters there, my OEM build here, we've got the Linux platforms up there that are node controllers, and just on and on and on and on. And yes, very quickly it could get really warm in here if we're not careful. So with that being said, I'm going to say goodbye. Just wanted you to see what this looked like and how you can do these things a little bit cheaper, a little bit more efficiently, and to use that to your advantage, because it is about saving money. Everything I do here is about helping people learn the technology without paying that god-awful fees for it and certifications and all of that. Get your hands on the gear, manage the gear, handle the gear, because when you learn that, you learn the real job in any environment that you've got out there, may it be a cloud environment and so on. So with that being said, I'm going to let you go. God bless and take care.